Hey Wargamers, welcome back to the channel, Death from Above Wargaming. I'm Aaron.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here with a sweet product review.
House Arano!
So this is fresh off the presses at Drive-Thru RPG. Got a nice soft copy here for about $30, and we're going to go through this today and talk to you about at a high level some of the content, the quality. What else do we want to talk about? The video game, which you're a specialist
It's
of.
a gamer perspective.
The gamer perspective. Kevin is a specialist at the BattleTech video game.
Why call me out?
Well, because I don't own a computer fast enough to run it.
I don't even own a computer, I'm pretty sure.
We're so old.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, guys. That review is coming right up. All right, guys, we are back with our panel-style review of the House Arano supplement here. The Aurigan Coalition, is that how you say that?
Close enough, I suppose.
At first, I thought the I and the G were transposed. I thought it was Aurigan, but, you know.
Origin.
House Arano.
Yeah, House Arano is pretty easy to say. So
Oregon Coalition. I think we got it. I think we nailed it.
You're the master of this. This is a great book. I was really excited to get this. Again, got it Drive-Thru RPG. You can get it in either PDF format or you can get it in a softback. Softback's about $30.
Digital or tactile?
That's true. I'm a tactile kind of guy. And it said it would take 3 to 4 weeks to print. This
Tell me, how long did it take?
5 days to my door.
5 days.
Can you believe it? This can be yours for just the low price. I think it was $32.99 maybe with shipping. I could be wrong. But Tom.
Yeah.
As you do have a keen eye, why don't you take us through the quality of the content? What were your first impressions when you took a look at this book?
Yeah, so if you've ever had any print-on-demand books before, it'll feel very similar. The format of it is about the same. The binding of it is the same. The kind of glossy covers and the thickness of the paper, all very typical. The quality of the graphics is great. I think all the words and all of the images are pretty crisp. There's some examples where it looks like
I like words.
Yeah. They've used some undersized images and expanded them, and that's, again, very typical of these print-on-demand.
Yeah,
yeah. But otherwise, it's well formatted and very clear and easy to get into it, and it kind of draws you in, Goes through sort of the background in the first part, then it works into the people, and then it goes into the campaign itself, and finishes up with all the sheets. So it's great layout, some really cool double-page graphics, the little mech,
the salacious dossiers,
yeah.
as I like to call them.
I sort of love the pilot pages. Those are probably the highlight for me.
Very cool.
And I can just sort of highlight this double-page map.
Who doesn't love a good star map?
Super high quality. I'm pretty pumped about it.
And the pictures were really cool too. Like they really do a great job of capturing that sort of, sci-fi but relatable, like near sci-fi type.
Right, classical sort of architecture in a futuristic setting.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was like, did you just rehearse that? It was amazing.
Sort of a Le Corbusier or whatever his name is.
We just got 4 people unsubscribed when you said
unsubscribed. Yeah, nobody likes his architecture. Probably the only ding I would give to it is just that they really cram the text in.
Yeah.
It's it's very tightly kerned, and it's kind of way up to the borders on everything. But again,
not bad.
Yeah, it's not unreadable. So I give it like a.
How many bombs would you give this, Tom?
Yeah, I was gonna say probably a 4 out of 5 bombs. I mean, it's
good.
not.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a.
You're looking at the shelf like the Total War and some of the newer books. They were pretty good. But this is all original content.
All original.
Which is exciting.
And what I was going to say too is that I think the logical layout of it is a 5 out of 5 compared to.
Oh yeah. Let's not even.
BattleTech sourcebooks.
Yeah, let's not even go there. But I thought the same thing. I thought the layout was good. And it's so great to get some fresh content, right? So, Kev, being one that has made it through the campaign.
Yes. So
tell us.
A lot of the source material is coming from, for those of us that have played the PC, Mac, Linux game BattleTech, right? That was released, I guess, 2 years ago or a year now, 2 years.
Yeah.
the history of the House Arano and the Aurigan coalition, right, comes from the video game. And it's nice because you get sort of the backstory for that whole setting, that faction. So for me, playing the game, it was sort of what re-energized my enthusiasm also in the BattleTech universe. And I'm sure a lot of people were introduced to it from the video game, the Mech Warrior universe, or any of it, really. Yeah. So I think it's also a nod to those new fans sort of having like a house to get behind, right? Something that they are familiar with and recognize. So I actually appreciate the retconning or the bringing in of this new faction. I think it's pretty cool. And so, a lot of people may look down on,
it's not classic.
It's not classic, but I think it's pretty cool and it was harmless because it's sort of a frontier area that really nothing was going on,
right?
Other than a little Capellan and Taurian squabble,
right?
So why not?
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool. And the lore behind it, reading through it, it's like I think I'm gonna put together a lance. I love it. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Tom?
I was just gonna say, back when you were playing the game, I remember us talking about it and being pretty excited about the quality of that story arc.
The story,
yeah, it's a really good story arc, and a lot of the artwork is sort of plucked from the game, but they also added some of their own artwork that ties in with the same style. Pretty cool. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, well, why don't we step through at a high level, right, real quick, just the sections, and we can call out some of the stuff that we see here. So, as you guys mentioned, first really is just an introduction, history. All the backstory here.
Maps. I love maps.
Yeah, so there's more than a couple maps here. So some really good stuff.
Starts with the history, and really the history is most of the back history, with really just like the last bit of the history recapping sort of what happens and transpires in the game.
Right.
And then it sort of ends with how the game ends. Right. It talks about some mysterious mercenary company that aided House Arano in the restoration, which obviously is the player's point of view in the game. So it's
very cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And so there are 5 or so houses that participate. Oh, actually, there's 7 houses.
Right, it's sort of like a feudal, as most things are in BattleTech. Right, a feudal coalition of houses that form this. This nation.
Yeah, so they got they have the crests for the houses in there, and some background.
You have some sub-faction options for unit colors, things like that.
The socioeconomics, some corporate profiles if you want to
C-bill value of a House Arano cheesesteak.
Right, whatever you may desire. So military forces rankings are in here. Of course, phenomenal battle mech assets table. So for those of you that want to use the Chaos campaign or the about to be published DFA campaign rules, you can use. That's right. You can use some of the tables in here to aid in that. They've got some of the key personalities, and Kevin, you mentioned some of these or all of these are from the game, from the story.
A handful are just houses you hear about or they reference, but you don't really get to know all the personalities. So some of them are new, but still, it's a seamless integration, so to speak.
Right, some great full page artwork, and Tom, you were kind of talking about that earlier.
In addition to the table you mentioned, I noticed it's a little further on, but I might as well mention it now. They also have like the random unit tables, things like that. So if you want to know mechs, vehicles, aerospace for the Taurians, the Capellans, the Aurigan Reach. At that time, right? You can pull all that in for historical.
And it is a random. It's a random assignment table. Your favorite.
Yeah. So you can do your historical reenactments.
Right. Historical reenactments are our favorite. So that's really cool. Yeah, and that's in the back of the book. And check it out. Also, speaking of tables and things, so they have every planet. Every key system, right? What position in the system the key planet is. Time to jump point. The hyperpulse generator class, should you need to know that.
It's like the CIA Atlas.
I mean, you could play like a whole Mech Warrior RPG campaign off of this
Travel
as well.
time to the jump point.
Right, the contents it's deep, right, yeah. I mean, the socio-industrial
But it sort of ties in, they're getting to the level of detail that you'd otherwise get off of like the wiki or some of the other content sites. So it's kind of nice that you have that same level of depth you want to tie in.
Yeah. Yep, and then we have the different companies and their combat operations, their rosters. Tom, you were talking about this earlier, right? Yeah. So we have this. That's what it's called in the Salacious dossiers.
Yeah, and one thing to point out,
pilots.
We noticed when we were looking at the sort of skill levels of the pilots, they're mostly 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
And then there's 1, 2, 5. The catapult. Am I allowed to?
Yeah.
I'm not getting anything away. So the catapult
Yeah.
pilot's a 3-5 because he's just gonna stand there and shoot missiles at somebody, or a 2-5. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it really seems like this campaign book is balanced towards a base of a 3, which we've talked extensively about. Traditionally
Right.
it was a little higher, much harder to hit. You know, as lethal.
Yeah,
so,
it's interesting because that actually syncs up with the Chaos campaign book they just published too, where
Right.
they say the average pilot is around a 3-4,
Yeah.
where traditionally it was about a 4-5, and
And
however
we
the
get
fluff,
comments on that on the videos quite
right,
often,
like kind of where we play.
Yeah.
And we've been sort of gravitating up, away from sort of the 2-1 to more of a 3-2, type
Still like to be
arrangement.
killy though.
We love we love that. So yeah, so they've got all these different pilots, their mechs, their piloting and gunnery scores, profiles. Oh, and
Cool, I
also
thought they used the
special
wireframe.
abilities. The wireframe
that.
is cool. Yeah, the wireframe is very cool.
Old school mech.
And then we've got scenarios.
Scenarios.
And they've got the game set up with the maps. They tell you what map to use. So the maps, I believe, come right out of the box sets: a Game of Armored Combat and your beginner box set.
We'll be going
Talks about-
hexless.
Yeah, I mean we're hexless, but it tells you what forces to play down to the pilot, the pilot and the mech. So everything's prescribed. Of course, you can do whatever you want with this, but the scenarios are very cool. Here's an example. If you guys can see that, maybe I'll zoom in on that.
Quite a size for some quick start options.
Yeah, agreed. Especially for new players, right? Like you were saying,
Right.
it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Anything to add? No, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
It's okay.
Yeah, but anyway, so past the scenarios, there's a rules annex. All right, so talks about how to create scenarios, talks about those random assignment tables, and there's these phenomenal rules for pre-existing damage because nobody starts a mission clean. So there are these tables where everything shows up all banged up.
That's what we call frontier life. That's why we're
It's
the
like
outer
a gang
sphere.
sign for that. The outer sphere. Yeah, so I mean, there's all sorts of crazy stuff in here for Total Warfare, Alpha Strike, and so on. And for example, you can have severe damage. Taking 1 point of damage for every 1 ton of mass, it generates critical. So you start the game all messed up, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, so all sorts of great stuff in there. Of course, the Argo.
Argo.
Now that was the dropship.
Ergo. Argo.
That was the dropship in the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so really cool. So they've got
Jump ship.
Oh, that's the jump ship.
Right. The
Gotcha.
dropship, you just had a leopard, but still, that was like your Cadillac across the galaxy.
Yeah, this
The
is
limo
this,
ride.
and
Yeah.
the artwork phenomenal. Yeah, really really cool stuff. And then we get to those random assignment tables, and then of course
Record sheets.
record sheets, good old record sheets. So a couple of vehicles,
Photocopying.
yeah, photocopying, a couple of mechs. And of course, the Argo itself.
In case you want to fight it.
Right. In case you want to use your giant, you can
Right.
can you 3D print one?
97,000
Right.
tons.
In case you just want to, go to combat with your Starling jump ship.
Yeah, why not? And that's it. That's it. That's all that's in there. Just all that stuff.
But it's enough.
It's a lot,
It's a good
yeah.
source book, right? If you're going to form your own Lance company unit under House Arano or any of the houses right within the Aurigan coalition, pretty good content there. I
Yeah.
think it's a nice addition to the lore in the universe.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
welcome it.
I like it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the two things for me. I think one is that the drive-through RPG like print-on-demand model is great, and I think that they should leverage this and create more content like this.
I loved it too.
I mean, it's so the content's really deep in this. Like for as small as this is, like we just talked through it. I mean, you can really spend a lot of time reading it.
Yeah.
And what I was going to mention about that is, the different narrative styles of fiction. This is much more like you're reading nonfiction. It's not set up as a narrative story. It's set up like you read through the description of the planets and things, and some people really enjoy that. Like me, I think you're
Yeah.
probably the same. Like
the data.
yeah, it's like reading. It's like reading.
What's their largest export?
Exactly. Yeah. Like if I don't know what their major exports are, I don't even care about.
Well,
them.
I mean, what's the point?
Just burn the planet. to the
Why would
ground.
I attack this planet?
Yeah. So I mean, it's really cool that way, and I'd seen people on Facebook and other places asking questions like that, and so that's a good thing to call out. It is very descriptive.
Yeah.
Very cool that way. And the other part, and the last thing in Tom's wrap up, the last thing I would say too is that as they were talking about in the scenarios, you really, if you're an inexperienced player who's not sure how to like build a lance or anything like that, it's all there for you. You can just jump on the ground and start playing.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
With basic materials from like even the beginner box.
Yeah.
And really roll up a campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically.
I think even with that's a great point, and even with the beginner,
I'll hand over the
thank you, sir.
stick.
Even with the beginner box, right? They have the sort of the cardboard cutouts, right?
Yeah,
For the,
you
it's
don't
like the
even
two
need plastic
mags.
minis.
Right.
You know, so you could. I think you're right. I mean, basically the beginner box and this, you know, $50 or whatever for the two of them, and you've got a lot of play hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Especially if you play 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'd give it 5 out of 5 bombs.
Yeah. For depth of. Yeah. For
Depth of content.
meatiness of the content, 5 out of 5.
Bang for buck. This probably gets a 5 out of 5 for me.
Boom.
Is it around $30?
I think it was about $30. You know, I don't remember how it broke down with shipping. I'm sure that was probably $12. The actual book was less. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen.
No media mail here.
Thank you so much for watching. Love to hear your feedback on this, but highly recommend, you know, get a copy, check it out. Really worth it. But thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more from Death from Above Wargaming. We'll catch you soon.